let's talk about pork butt, Reggie and them, right? And how he took Michael Moore off of off of Tupac, who had just who was doing security for Tupac in Milan for Fashion Week, right? Now, I just heard this nigga say the other day, right, that he put Michael Moore on Tupac. I mean, he took Michael Moore off Tupac for him so he could go watch the register at Club 662 because Michael Moore was a no nonsense type of guy. And he know if nobody wanted to pay the $50, that Michael Moore would make them go out and get back on the line. Reggie, stop lying. And then he had the nerve to say that he said that because he sent Michael Moore over to Club 662 because he had Hacky and Frank on Tupac. We all know that Hacky was not there. So why are you still lying? So just 2 days ago, Reggie says that he put Michael Moore on the register at Club 662 because he was a no-nonsense type of guy. No, you put Michael Moore on the register because he didn't want to give up his gun. And when y'all had that meeting, Reggie, David Kenner, George Kalisis, right? When y'all had that meeting and told dudes they couldn't carry their guns, Michael Moore wasn't having it. So that's why you sent Michael Moore over to Club 662 because he wasn't giving up his gun. And you saw him out. You did that because Frank and Kevin Hackey were working security on Tupac. That's a lie because we all know Kevin Hackey wasn't in Vegas, right? And why wasn't Kevin Hackey in Vegas? Because you fired him, Reggie. Why did you fire Why did you fire Kevin Hackey for that weekend for him not to show up in Vegas? Because you found out that Hackey got paid $10,000 for doing security on the set of Gang Related, and you fired Hackey because you felt like the money was supposed to go to Right Way Security. Which I agree with you, Reggie. I agree with you on that. If he works for your security company and you book him to go do gang related, but then again, you could have been fired. This is why he kept the 10 grand. Because if Pac fired Kevin Hackey, then that money don't go to you unless you booked it before. I don't know. But let's just say for the sake of being fair, if he was working for Right Way Security and doing security on gang related protecting, doing security for Tupac, yes, you were supposed to get that 10 grand. But the fact is, you fired Kevin Hackey. That's why he wasn't in Vegas. And that weekend, he was working at the Compton School District. And we know this. So how could you sit there and say that Hackey was working with Frank in Vegas when you know for a fact he was not there? Yeah, I hope that KVD's defense is getting your lives and keeping them. Because if they didn't save that live from the other day with you lying, saying that Joe Cool was a junkie and this, that, and the third, he wouldn't know if Perez and them was up there. Like if they don't know all that is a lie, and then if they don't know that Kevin Hackey wasn't even in Vegas, then they gonna lose this case. But the fact that you sit there and lie and lie and lie and contradict yourself, but Vegas got you leading the grand jury and testifying against Keefy D, it goes to show me either this whole thing is a cover up and them people are involved in this cover up. Because I don't know how your federal convicted felony ass is leading this investigation for Vegas as dirty as you are. You literally just said the other day that Frank and Kevin Hackey were working security on Tupac, and you know that Hackey wasn't there. Now, let's get to the fight. We know Frank and Tupac was together the night of the fight. We know Frank and Tupac went to the fight and was waiting on Suge. And Tupac was mad because Suge was late. And they was about to leave, and then Suge showed up with the tickets. And then they went into the fight together. Suge and Pac sat next to each other. And we all know the fight only lasted 90 goddamn seconds. And then they headed out to fight. Right? And then Pac wanted to go see Mike Tyson. They went to go see Mike Tyson. And before Tupac could see Mike Tyson, after he led the whole crew back there, right? After a few minutes, Suge told them that they had to leave, allegedly. Right? Grabbed Pac and said, yo, we got to leave. And they left out and ran right into Orlando Anderson. And from sources that say Tupac was mad and told Suge, yo, I got to see the nigga Mike. I got to talk to Mike. I ain't never see Mike after. I never left without seeing Mike after the fight. He told him, yo, we got to go. Grab Pac and say, yo, we got to go. And what do? They go and they run right into the Orlando Anderson thing, right? Trayvon run over to Pac, whisper in his ear, and Pac staring at Orlando while he whispering in his ear. And then Pac takes off and jumps on Orlando, and then they all go jump on him. Then what happened after that? They went back to the Luxor. And they went to Suge's house. And according to sources, Tupac wanted to drive his Hummer with Frank and the Outlaws, but Suge told Pac he had to ride with him because they had business to discuss. Even when you hear Frank tell that story, he said he went to go get in the back of the BMW, and Suge told him, no. Go ride, go, you can't ride with us. We got some business to discuss. And then Pac told Frank, yo, drive Kadada car with the little homies. All this is documented. And then what happens? They leave, they get pulled over by the police on the bicycles. Allegedly because their music was too loud. They don't pull Pac out the car and search him. Only Suge get pulled out the car. Right? Now, one thing that a lot of people a lot of people don't talk about, but it's common knowledge because you see it. Suge had a walkie-talkie that night in the car. If you look in the car, you see the walkie-talkie. Not only did Suge have a walkie-talkie, if you look at the video of them coming out of the MGM Grand, Buntree got a walkie-talkie.